Have you ever wondered what the difference is between working in a public school district and working in a charter school? Well, lucky for you, I've gone undercover in both systems, and here's what I found. Check it out. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Pursuit of Excellence family, where you'll learn how to develop students' life skills, mindsets, and character. In my 7 years of education, 4 years have been in public schools and 3 years have been in public charter schools. And in this video, I'm gonna give you the 5 lessons that I learned from being in both systems. And I'm gonna give my advice to anybody who's considering a switch. I first wanna preface the video by saying that these lessons are from my own personal experience and that this may not be the case for every single public school district and every single charter school. I just wanna let you know, for reference of this video, that the public school districts that I've worked in, I've been in a small district with about 20,000 students, and I've been in a large district with about 150,000 students. And both of the charter schools that I've been in have been standalone public charter schools that are not a part of a district. Let's get back to the video. So right out of the gate, I want to start off with the biggie. And here it is. Public school kids and charter school kids can definitely be the same kids. See, for me, I was somebody who didn't have any kind of experience with what a charter school was like. So when I heard that there was an opportunity in a charter school, I thought that the students would be completely different than what I'm used to. I'm used to working in schools where kids are completely behaviorally challenged. And I would have students standing on top of desks. I would have students trying to lean out the window. We would have fights on the bus lot all the time. And when I heard there was an opening in a charter school, I thought this was going to be a completely different population of students. In working in the charter school for the last couple of years, I'm realizing that that's not the case. I learned that these 3 things really matter. If the school has no eligibility requirements for the lottery, if the school offers free transportation, and if the school offers hot lunch, then it's really opening up the pool to a lot of different candidates. And a lot of parents are thinking the same thing that I thought. I don't want my child to be in a public school where they have all the rowdy kids. I want them to be in a charter school with small class sizes. So they take their child that has the public school tendencies and apply for a charter school. And if they get in, then they're bringing a lot of those tendencies with them into the charter school. So if there's an unweighted lottery, that means that anybody can apply and everybody has an equal chance of getting in. If they offer free busing, then it doesn't necessarily matter what part of town you live in or what type of access to transportation you have, because they'll come pick you up. And if they offer a hot lunch, then that still provides opportunities for those who may not necessarily be able to provide lunch for themselves. So the candidate pool in this type of charter school is going to be the same candidate pool in a public school. And something else that I didn't think about until I actually started working in a charter school is that some students in the charter school are only there because they can no longer attend public schools. So imagine somebody that gets expelled from the public school district for doing something egregious. Where are they gonna go? They're gonna pay for a private school? Maybe, but probably not. They're gonna have to apply for these schools that are not in the district, which would be a charter school. So I had quite a few students that had extreme problems with their teachers and administrators and had even been kicked out of the public schools, and either their parents willingly brought them into the charter school, or they were told by the public school district that you can no longer attend school in this district and they had to search other options. And then on the flip side of that, I had some students who have been in private school their whole entire lives, but now their family can no longer afford private school, or they're looking for a switch. And they don't want to go to full-fledged public school district, so they put their child in the charter school. So now in one class, I had students who were in a private school upbringing their whole life, a Christian or Catholic school or whatever it is. And then I have students that were literally kicked out of their school district, and all of them are in my same class. Now the class sizes were smaller than my public school district, which was a good thing, but the demographics and the populations were very, very similar. So if you're somebody who would appreciate the smaller class sizes and you're not concerned about the population that you have, then this could definitely be a fit for you. But if you're looking for a specific population to work with, then I would definitely look out for the charter school's eligibility requirements, their transportation requirements, and if they offer hot lunch, because knowing that information will help you understand what type of population you could potentially be dealing with. So although the students are the same, the teachers are a lot different. And lesson number 4 that I learned is that you don't need to be a highly qualified educator to be employed in a charter school. Now, full disclosure, you don't need to be highly qualified in order to be employed in a public school district either, but it's a lot easier to get into a charter school if you don't have the proper certifications and licenses. I thought charter schools had the same exact requirements. You study education in college, you get your degree, you pass your certification test, you apply for jobs. Nope. I learned that in charter schools, they're a lot more flexible with who they hire. Now, ideally, they do want to hire these highly qualified educators, but at the end of the day, they just need somebody who's willing to teach. And since they're not a part of a school district, there's less political red tape that they have to go through in the hiring process. So in my experience, there have been quite a few teachers who don't have an education license or teaching certification. They're great people, they're just technically unqualified. Now, one of the good things about it is that sometimes you get some awesome candidates who really have a passion to teach and a passion to help young people. Like, I can think of one of my coworkers who was a self-employed pharmacist for over 20 years and got to the point where he sold his business and now he really just wants to pour into young people. But he didn't have a desire to go back to school and get the proper certification to be a teacher. So he's employed in our charter school and he's doing an awesome job killing it in social studies and economics. But then on the flip side, you're also going to have the other end of the spectrum where we have teachers that couldn't get a job anywhere else or in any other district, and they rather work here than an hourly job. So if you're somebody who's not qualified or you don't have the necessary certifications to be a teacher, but you really have the passion to teach, then I would say it's a lot easier to get a job in a charter school versus a public school district. And if you're somebody that already has all your certifications and your teaching requirements, then I would say that if you're applying to a charter school, you already have a leg up as soon as you step in the door, because not all of the other applicants have those qualifications. And one of the reasons why charter schools may not necessarily get so many qualified teacher applicants is because lesson number 3, oftentimes there's a lack of financial resources. Now, I'm not saying that the pay is not going to be competitive, because in both of the charter schools that I've been a part of, the pay would have been the exact same if I was in the public school district. But what I'm saying is they don't necessarily have the type of access that the public school districts do. The public school districts that I was in, we were on an $80 million campus housing students from grade 7 to grade 12. And we had technology for everybody in the district. Everybody had a school issued laptop that they would take home and bring back to school. And we had media centers and we had computer labs and interactive whiteboards and document cameras and rooms full of technology that nobody even knew how to use. And I thought that that's just how education was done these days. But I realized that's how education is done if you have the money to make it happen. I learned that in charter schools, they have to make do with what they have. Now, some charter schools are going to have this type of money and have grants in order to have technology and things like that. But there are definitely some who are behind financially and don't have enough to provide technology for everybody. The schools that I was in, we didn't have enough technology for every student to have in the school building, much less to be able to take home. And when the pandemic hit, that hit us really hard. But luckily, we were able to get a grant in which we were able to get some more technology. But that took months. But it's not even the technology that I'm talking about. You can tell where our sports programs and our arts programs are lacking because of financial backing, and there's a limited amount of resources or materials for the classroom. So if you go asking for a classroom set of calculators, you're not going to get a response that points you to a utility closet full of materials. You're going to get pointed to donors choose. So if you're somebody who's comfortable with the bare necessities and you're like, listen, all I need is 4 walls and a board and I'm ready to show up and teach, I got this, fine, a charter school would be perfect for you. But if you're somebody who needs the latest and greatest and to have access to everything at your disposal, then you need to find a public school district that has a lot of financial backing. Before we get to the top 2, this is the last installment of my series on 5 lessons that I learned in my career. So if you're finding value in this, go ahead and drop a like so I know that you appreciate these types of videos so I can put out more just like this. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Lesson number 2, in charter schools, people wear multiple hats. I thought it was going to be just like a public school district where you do the job that was posted on the school website. But I learned that if you have many different talents, they're going to use them. Like if you applied to be the science teacher, but they didn't get somebody to fill the Spanish teacher vacancy, you better break out those old textbooks and be ready to be la maestra. No, of course they're gonna try to find the right fit, but it's nothing to see the athletic director and gym teacher also be the math teacher, or the bus driver also be the custodian and the lunch lady. There can definitely be some good that comes out of it. Like for example, I was hired as a math teacher, but when I got there, they needed an extra elective teacher. So I signed up to teach the elective leadership, where I got to, guess what? Build students' life skills, mindset, and character. And I loved it, like completely loved it. I loved it more than teaching math, don't tell anybody, which enabled me to design curriculum to help develop students' life skills, mindsets, and character. The links are in the description below if you want to check out some of my resources that'll help you develop students' life skills, mindsets, and character. But the joy that I got in teaching that class helped me find my true passion and helped me to birth this channel. And that's something I probably wouldn't have gotten in a public school. So if you're multi-talented and open to doing a lot of different things, then a charter school will probably be a good fit for you. Now, wearing multiple hats is not mandatory. So if you just want to do what your content area is and you just want to do that one thing, that's fine. Just make sure that you let them know going in that this is all I want to do. And now here it is, lesson number 1 that I learned in my transition from a public school district to a charter school is that the charter school is a lot more hands-on. And honestly, that's why I was drawn to the charter school in the first place. I found myself a part of a district where I felt stifled. The district had its own vision of exactly what they wanted in a teacher, and everybody needed to look the same, sound the same, and do the same things. And I just didn't fit that cookie cutter mold. So we would have coaches from the district come in and they would observe us and give us feedback. And when they told me that I had to change my voice, that was the last straw. They told me that I have more of a radio personality voice than a teacher voice. And I'm not gonna get in my soapbox about this. We don't have enough time for that in this video, but I didn't know that there was only one teacher voice. I didn't know that was a thing. I don't think there is. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I have no room to grow. I definitely believe that I have room to grow. And I definitely believe that somebody can coach me to be an awesome, transformative teacher. But what I'm saying is I had experience of maximizing student growth where I came from. And now when I came into this new district, they tried to completely ignore all of that and change everything that I was. And it didn't make sense for me to be uncomfortable when I knew that I had found a way that would work for me and my students. And if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a huge advocate for teachers being able to be themselves in the classroom, because that's what's going to truly lead to student growth. I talk about it all right here in this video. So when they tried to completely change me, that's when I knew that I could no longer be a part of that system. So when I heard that in charter schools you had more autonomy in your own classroom, I was super interested. And when I got to the charter school, I realized that it was true. And when I was in the charter school, there was nobody breathing down my neck, nobody micromanaging me, nobody constantly hovering over me and checking if I was doing the right thing. And I was able to see student growth left to my own devices and doing what I knew what was best for students. Now, obviously there's some drawbacks to this approach, because somebody who is not strong and confident in their practice and needs somebody to look over them, needs somebody to kind of micromanage them, needs somebody to consistently check in on them and support them, a charter school may not be the position that you want to take. And I think it goes back to the finances that we talked about earlier. They literally just can't employ enough coaches and instructional support in the building to give you that kind of support. So there are instructional leaders in the building, but there's not going to be as much as there were if you were in a public school district. Now, if you're somebody that knows that you need that hands-on approach, you know that you need somebody to walk you step by step, and you know that you need a lot of support, then maybe a public school district will be more attractive to you. The Pursue Excellence moment today, I ask you to comment down below. Now that you watched this video, where do you see yourself flourishing as a teacher? In a public school district or in a charter school, and why? Again, all these lessons stem from my own experiences, and this may not be true for everybody. And I really believe that if you're thinking about switching between a public school and a charter school, or a charter school and a public school, that you do your own research. And I hope that I gave you some ideas and questions to raise as you're beginning this process. But at the end of the day, education is education. And if you truly have a drive and a passion to help build students and to help grow students, I know that you're going to be great no matter where you are, because excellence is not the exception. It's our expectation. So click right here to subscribe. Check out this playlist right here with more videos just like this, and I'll see you next time.